Blake, pick a man, bring your kit.
I hoped today might be a good day. Hope is a dangerous thing.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message, calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
Let's talk about this for a minute.
Why?
We've got orders to cross here.
That is the German front line.
Hold back! If we're not clever about this, no one will get to your brother. I will.
There is only one way this ends. Last man standing.
I'm going back to see my father.
We need to keep moving! Come on!
I'm going there, no more to run.
We can't possibly make it that way, man! You bloody insane!
If you don't get there in time, we will lose 1,600 men. Your brother among them. Good luck.
After finishing the last Bond movie, I wanted to try and find something that I've never done before. It came from when I was a very small kid. My grandfather fought in the First World War. His name was Alfred Hubert Mendes, and he went to war in 1917. He was a messenger on the front lines, and he was given the job of carrying the message from post to post. And I started with this fragment, really.
Cut. Very good.
We're two actors who really are, relatively speaking, new to the game.
George MacKay and Dean Charles Chapman, who are playing Schofield and Blake. Both of them are extraordinary young actors.
George embodies some of the qualities that I was looking for. There's something about him that's slightly old-fashioned and internal. And then Dean Charles Chapman, who plays Blake, is a wonderful, instinctive actor.
Must be something big if the General's here.
Two men have about 8 hours to get from one part of the Western Front to another.
Action!
You've got to cross into enemy territory on a race against time to deliver a message that will save 1,600 lives.
And there is no better way to tell this story than with one continuous shot.
From the first moment I talked to Sam about the idea of it as a one-shot movie, I knew it was going to be really immersive.
Stay low.
It's meant to make you feel that you are in the trenches with those two young men.
And the camera never ever comes away from the two characters.
Sometimes you have a camera being carried by an operator, hooked onto a wire, and the wire carries it across more land, and it's unhooked again. That operator runs with it, then steps onto a small jeep, which carries him another 400 yards, and he steps off it again and goes round a corner. There's always that sort of get-out-of-jail card that you have with a movie. Well, you know, we might be able to cut around this, or we might take that scene out. That's not possible on this film. The dance of the camera and the mechanics all have to be in sync with what the actor's doing.
was like a piece of theatre every take. Once it starts, it can't stop. If something goes wrong, you just have to keep going. And there were so many scenes that I just completely got lost in.
I'm sorry! We're on commission. Let me through!
And the planning was absolutely key.
The challenges of prepping this movie are the challenges of prepping a normal movie times about 5. We had to measure every step of the journey.
In the early days of rehearsing, me and Jules, Sam and Roger turned up to this open field that was pretty much nothing there other than grass. And we had the script in our hand and we literally just walked and talked every single scene to see how long it took us to get from A to B.
The scene has to be the exact length of the land, and the land cannot be longer than the scene, and the scene cannot be longer than the land. And so you have to rehearse every line of dialogue on location. And that's where it overlaps with doing theatre, because the world has to be crafted around the rhythm of the script.
We had a lot of group conversations about the sets, whether it was over models or illustrations that Dennis had done.
We wanted to understand the physicality of what we had to build.
We built over a mile of trenches.
To dig it was quite a task. When we were digging, we were still doing rehearsals, we were still staking out the trench lengths. So
It's a highly choreographed piece, so every inch has to be accounted for. It was an amazing amount of work. Every place that we went was a magnitude of problems to solve.
There's a scene where they had all these flares going up over the top of the town, and those flares were lighting the whole scene.
So we needed to figure out how much time the flares needed to be in the air to get the look we were after.
They had this model where they were testing which way the shadows moved.
What was key was the way the light fell through the windows to create the shadow and the layers of light.
You have to construct a journey for the camera that's every bit as interesting as the journey of the actor. What I wanted was one ribbon, like a snake, moving forward, in which the information that you needed happened to fall in front of where the camera was pointing. The fact that we're moving always forward, it does have a compound effect, a gradual growing menace. And that constant sense of threat of what isn't seen, of what might be around the corner, is baked into the DNA of this movie.
There is only one way this war ends. Last man standing.
It's really important that we don't forget the people who fought in the First World War. There's a duty to remember them and remember what they did.
The things that these soldiers go through are horrendous. It's intimate in a way that I don't think any other war movie I've seen is.
Until you actually see it on a screen, you don't really realize how immersive it is and how that technique kind of draws you into it.
For me, engagement is very important, and that is behind the way in which we've decided to shoot this film. At the end of the day, you just hope you made something special that people feel personally about. When you achieve that, it's really beautiful and exhilarating.